Good people YouTube, I'm the Watch Idiot, and right off the bat, I haven't had this much fun with the watch in such a long time, and I wasn't expecting that to be said of an Apple Watch, but here we are. And before you think that I've gone completely mad, this Apple Watch Ultra is by far the most Watch World Apple Watch that we've ever had. So in this video, I'm gonna look at this as a watch. I'm gonna go over how it actually wears on the wrist, because the 49mm dimension that Apple gave is not what we think, nor is it enough to base any judgments on. And then I'm gonna get into some details about the case and the unbelievably good strap that it comes with, the Ocean Band, and then why I got this in the first place, especially as a guy who is obsessed with, quote unquote, real watches. And finally, if you're new here, welcome to this weird little world of watches that has been my life for over a decade now, which is really weird for me to think about. But yeah, I mean, this channel is all about the little glories of these little time-telling machines that we have on our wrist, from the likes of, Casio G-Shocks and Seiko to Tudor, Rolex, Grand Seiko, and the like. So yeah, I mean, I love them all, and I love talking about all things watches with all of you guys over here. So yeah, let's get into it. Oh, and also I gotta say, it's been fun indulging my tech YouTuber alter ego with this and fiddling around with all the screens and stuff like that. But yeah, okay, let's go into it. So as always, let's do the dimensions first, because there is a lot to take in here. First of all, the number thrown around the most is 49mm, and that sounds terrifying. But the 49mm dimension they give is actually the lug to lug, top to bottom, which is actually, not too bad. It's still big, but it's not by any means an absolutely unwearable giant that we've never seen before. Continuing on, we've got a width of a bit over 43mm, including the crown guards, and the bezel is actually 38mm wide, and these are the dimensions that make a big difference, because 38mm across isn't all that bad, well, considering that the entire 38mm is pretty much the dial. And the crown guard does take up space on your wrist, but like other crown guards on actual watches, it doesn't really have that much of a visual impact while still having a bit of an impact. Oh, and I almost forgot, the thickness of the watch online, it says, is 14.4mm thick, but it does not wear like that, just because that dimension is including the little sapphire crystal bump, which is supposed to sit in your wrist anyway. So without that, it comes out to 12.1mm. So yeah, when you see it on your wrist, it does not look like it's a very thick watch. And yeah, it's got some height to it, but also it's very curvy, so it doesn't wear thick at all. So do not be worried by that at all. And as you can see on my 7.5-inch wrist or 190mm wrist, it wears big, but it wears pretty reasonably for a watch of this size, which I am so thankful for, because from the start I was so scared that it would be too big for me, considering my sweet spot of 38 to 40mm watches. And also the strap is perfectly proportioned to handle the size and to make the watch feel a bit more normal. So it's 23mm strap width here, not a lug width, because it doesn't really have lugs in that way. And yeah, since we're not dealing with an actual watch strap, the 23mm doesn't infuriate me as it usually would. Yeah, it just works with the Ultra overall. So yeah, no problems with it. That being said, would it have been cool if they made a smaller version? Yeah, why not? Especially so that more people can experience this watch. But, I gotta say, I'm really enjoying the bigger size, because this is supposed to be a tool watch made for crazy situations. And in those situations, having a bigger screen for better legibility is gonna be helpful. But for me, not being in any of those crazy situations, it's just nice to, see more at once. And also the OLED screen is really nice to look at anyway, so might as well see more of it. So I want to concentrate on the little details that, might not be important overall as like a tool, but just things that just make me smile, because that's the essence of the watch hobby, and that's what makes me fall in love with particular watches. And there are so many things that make me smile with this, and there are a lot of very specific details here that are taken directly from the watch world, which is pretty cool. So me being a full-on dive watch guy, when I saw that there was a timing bezel watch dial, I was super curious. And so yeah, when you tap it, it actually adjusts the bezel and tracks the elapsed time, which on a smartwatch, you know, moving the bezel is useless, but you know, it was just really cool to see that they included something like that. And also they have, you know, dials with Arabic indices, which I absolutely love seeing. And then also they have a full-on world timer dial. And this really tells me that they paid a lot of attention to the watch world and incorporated the watch world into their designs. And then there's the moon, or should I say like the moon phase plus dial. And this is just so cool just because you can tap on the moon and full on Google Earth it and look around the entire moon. And then you can use the crown, or the digital crown as they say it, to cycle through the moon phases by day into the past and the future. I mean, it's such an awesome little detail that no one needed to include, but the fact that they did include it is just so awesome, and it's just so special. So I absolutely love lume on watches. I am a child, I cannot get enough of it, and I was expecting to miss the lume here, but on the new Wayfinder dial that's exclusive to the Ultra, there's a night vision mode where everything turns to red to preserve your night vision, which is super useful, and it just looks so cool. And yeah, this is now my equivalent of lume, and the OLED screen makes it seriously cool because it pretty much looks like it's a sticker that's just applied on top of it. It looks unreal. So the strap is incredible, and like I said, it's 23 millimeters, which is weird, but it works well with the proportions, and we're not dealing with normal straps anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it's so special and super useful because of that adjustable second keeper, which is so clutch for me because it doesn't interfere with my wrist the way that other keepers and second keepers do. And that's the main reason why I always end up taking off the second keeper from all my straps, just because I don't like feeling a bump, over here at the side of my wrist. That usually happens. Here you just pop open the loop, choose the hole that you want to put it in to have the strap secured at that point, put it in, close it, and off you go. It's so cool. I'm absolutely loving it because everything here has a purpose beyond looking cool. You know, I like the look of the holes going all the way around and the wavy look of the strap, but those holes give us some stretch as they deform, and they also give us the second adjustable keeper. And because of the waves, air can pass through underneath it and, you know, ventilate our wrists. And I think I can say that this is the best rubber strap that I've ever used as a whole, just because of, you know, how adjustable, how secure, how comfortable it is, and in the end, just how awesome it looks. I mean, I absolutely need this strap on my other watches. So yeah, I hope other strap makers are, you know, have made note of this because it's just so good, and it freaking stretches. It's so good. Please. And the color is definitely bold on my particular strap, you know, especially for someone like me whose favorite color is gray, you know, as you can see from my t-shirt. But I figured that, you know, I'm already getting a very different watch, so I might as well go all out and get the full, very different experience. So the case is titanium, obviously, which I absolutely love, you know, considering my love for the Pelagos over here. Look at it. But the pictures online made it look like it's a warmish pale goldy kind of color, which kind of worried me because I absolutely love the dark look of titanium, and thankfully the case has that traditional dark hue of titanium, but it does have a touch more warmth than the Pelagos or my Speedmaster X33 that I owned before. Also, the entire case is matte, which is to be expected. You know, it does help with the tool aesthetic of the watch, but the one thing that I never noticed in the many pictures and videos that I've watched is that there's a super thin